I analyzed every single US dollar pair, Bitcoin and gold. So let's start. First pair is US dollar Swiss franc. And this is daily time frame, and as we can see here, we have this consolidation. Price formed this support zone. We can see that price failed to break it here, here, here and here. So it tested it 4 times, which means that we have a valid support zone. Also, I marked this zone here as a potential bearish zone. And how I mark these potential bullish and bearish zones, I will explain fully in my new program. If you want to find out more about that program, join my free Telegram channel. But right now what we can see is that price formed this higher high and then it formed new lower high. So we don't really have a clear structure here, and we also have stochastic RSI sell indication. So it's more likely to see bearish move, but I'm not really convinced at this moment. And because of that, let's scale down on a lower time frame, 4-hour time frame, to see what is happening there. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see this strong bullish move, but we can see that price started to form these lower highs, and also if you look closely, we will actually see that price formed this support zone. So maybe our plan can be to wait for the price to break this zone, form a slow pullback and retest this zone to form new lower high. If that happens, that can be a good place to enter a sell trade. Also here I noticed this zone and I want to mark this zone as a potential bullish zone. For that I will use yellow color, which means that we can aim for that zone. Now if our plan works and price goes down to test this zone, that can be our target. However, if you see bullish reaction here and ideally stochastic RSI buy indication, that means that we can look to buy there. So for now, this can be our plan for US dollar Swiss franc. This is US dollar Canadian dollar daily time frame, and here what we can see is this bullish move. Price consolidated here between this resistance zone and this support zone. We can see that price tested this zone 3 times and also it tested this zone 3 times. Eventually price formed this bullish move to break this resistance zone and retested it here and here. And that's why now we can call this zone a significant zone, because it acted both as a resistance and support. Then what we can see here is that price formed these higher highs and higher lows. However, price then failed to break this previous high, and we can see that eventually went down to break this previous low. We also have here this bullish trend line that connected these higher lows. So price broke this previous low and it also broke our trend line. This clearly indicates bearish pressure, but it's too late to sell now. So what we can do now is to wait for a bullish pullback and then to look for the opportunities to sell. And now let's scale down on a 4-hour time frame to see what is happening there. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see this very aggressive bearish move that easily broke this low and also our trend line. We have stochastic RSI sell indication, and as I said, it's not good time to sell right now. We want to see bullish pullback, and ideally we want to see slow bullish pullback. Now if you look closely, we will actually see this zone here that acted both as a support and resistance. So this here is a significant zone, and what we can do is to wait for a slow bullish pullback to retest this zone, and then we can look to sell. And ideally we will have stochastic RSI sell indication. Now if that happens and price forms bearish pressure, that will be a good opportunity to enter a sell trade. So this can definitely be our plan for US dollar Canadian dollar. For US dollar Japanese yen, we can see that price consolidated here for a very long time. Price started to form these very strong bullish moves. It formed this series of higher highs and higher lows, and we can see this very strong bullish trend. So by looking at this daily time frame, we can easily say that US dollar Japanese yen is trending up. Here we can see that price actually formed this very impulsive bullish move, and now we can see this slow bearish pullback. Stochastic RSI is about to give us buy signal, but now let's scale down on 4-hour time frame to see what is happening there. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see here that price formed significant zone. This zone acted both as a resistance and as a support. Now what we can see is this slow bearish pullback and series of lower highs and also lower lows. However, if you look closely, we will see that price formed this new significant zone. This zone acted as a resistance here and as a support here and here. So what we can do is to wait for the price to test this zone again, and ideally stochastic RSI will give us buy signal. Now if that happens and price forms bullish reaction, that can be a good place to enter a buy trade and catch this bullish trend. If price goes down to break this zone and forms bearish pressure, then our plan to buy will not be valid anymore. Then we will have to wait for new bullish pressure and bullish structure and then to look to buy, but for now we want to wait for the price to react to this zone one more time. This here is British pound US dollar, and what we can see here is that price formed this series of lower highs and lower lows and formed this very impulsive bearish move. Price then went up to retest this significant zone that acted both as a resistance and as a support. Price retested this zone with this bearish move, but actually we can see that it failed to break this previous low and it formed this strong bullish move to break this zone again. At this point I'm not sure that this zone is valid anymore, because we can see that price broke this zone 3 times. However, we still have downtrend and price is testing this previous low. But we can see this bullish move is very strong, so we don't want to sell right now. We have stochastic RSI sell indication, but at this moment I'm not convinced that it's a good time to sell British pound US dollar. However, let's check 4-hour time frame. On a 4-hour time frame, we can see that price is retesting this previous low, but we already saw that on a daily time frame. This behavior here is not good to trade and we don't really have a good structure here. Here we can see this area where price consolidated and it's likely to see bearish move that will go down to test this area again. And if price do that, it will be very likely that we will see new consolidation here. So at this moment I don't really have a good plan for this pair and that's why we will just move on to the next one. Before we move on, I want to let you know that FundedNext has a Black Friday offer. As you can see, this offer is available for both new users and existing users. If you are a new FundedNext user, you have 25% discount plus 250% passing reward. And you can use this coupon code FNPL250. But for existing users, you have 15% discount offer and 150% passing reward. And all you have to do is to use this coupon code here, FNPL150. This offer is available for all Stellar accounts, but keep in mind that this passing reward is not available for Stellar Instant accounts. Anyway, hurry up and sign up to become FundedNext trader. If you prove yourself, you will split up to 95% of your reward. Good luck and trade healthy. So this is Australian dollar, US dollar, and what we can see here is this series of lower highs. Also, we have this support zone that price failed to break here, and also here. We can see that price formed this strong bullish reaction, but right now it is testing this previous high. So at this moment I think it's too late to buy, and actually what we can do is to form our plan to look to sell. It's possible to see new high here and bearish reaction, and we can also see that stochastic RSI is above 80. On a 4-hour time frame, we can actually see this strong bullish move and price is about to test this previous high. However, before we sell, we have to wait for some kind of a bearish pressure, because right now we can see that this bullish move is very strong. So again, what we can do is we can wait for a bearish pressure and then look to sell, or we can wait for the price to break this previous high with very impulsive bullish move and then wait for a pullback, retest and opportunity to buy. So for now, our plan can be to wait for the price to react to this previous high. If we see bearish pressure, we can look for the opportunities to sell, but if price breaks this previous high, we can wait for a pullback and then opportunities to buy. This is New Zealand dollar, US dollar, and we can see here series of lower highs and lower lows. However, last week was very bullish for this pair and we can see this very impulsive bullish move that broke this previous high. Now if you look left, we will see that this zone acted both as a support here and as a resistance here. Also here stochastic RSI is above 80 line, and ideally what we want to see is a slowdown of this bullish pressure. We want to see slow bullish move and then bearish reaction, because we want to catch this bearish downtrend. On a 4-hour time frame, we have this strong bullish move, but as I said, we want to see slowdown of this bullish pressure and then bearish reaction. Ideally, we will have stochastic RSI sell indication, and if that happens, that will be a good place to enter a sell trade. But I also noticed this zone here, and I marked this zone as a potential bullish zone, so we can aim for this zone here. However, if everything works out and price goes down to test this zone, we can then wait for a bullish reaction and then look to buy. But on a daily time frame, we said that we have downtrend. So if we decide to buy here, that will be a counter trend trade. So in this case, we don't want to have too high take profit, but anyway, it can still be our plan. This structure here on daily time frame for euro, US dollar is not very good. Here we have higher low and then lower low. After that, price formed new higher low. So as you can see, this is very confusing. But what we can also see is that price formed series of lower highs. At this moment, I don't see anything interesting on daily time frame, so let's get down on a 4-hour time frame. Here we will see this strong bearish move followed with a strong bullish move. Then we can see new bearish move and again new bullish move. These moves are very confusing, and at this moment it feels like gambling. It is very possible to see bullish move, test of this previous high, or basically we can say this resistance zone, but also I wouldn't be surprised to see bearish move and test of this previous low. So as you can see, this structure here is not good to trade. So now when we analyze US dollar pairs, let's actually see what we can expect from US dollar index. So this here is US dollar index, and what I wanted to see last week is a bearish move to test this previous high and then bullish reaction. But we can see here that that didn't happen, and price actually formed bearish move. Price is currently testing this major significant zone. This zone acted as a resistance and also as a support. Now here we still have series of higher highs and higher lows, so we can say that price is trending up. Price formed this pullback to retest this significant zone, and right now we can wait for a bullish reaction and some opportunities to enter buy trade. And also stochastic RSI is below 20. However, if price breaks this zone, then we can wait for a bullish pullback and retest of this significant zone. New lower high formation, ideally stochastic RSI sell indication, so we can look for opportunities to sell. So as you can see, we have plan to buy and to sell depending on how will price react to this zone. Now let's see what is happening with Bitcoin. Price formed series of lower highs and lower lows, and also it formed these multiple impulsive bearish moves. Here we can see this very impulsive bearish move, and what we want to see is slow bullish pullback. Right now we can actually see that price formed this bullish pullback and it is not very strong. The intensity of this bullish pullback is not strong, which is a good thing if you want to sell. Also what we have here is this significant zone. If we look left, we will see that this zone acted both as a support and as a resistance. Ideally what we want to see is another bullish move to test this significant zone and stochastic RSI sell indication, and we can already see that stochastic RSI is giving us sell signal. Now on a 4-hour time frame we can see new impulsive bearish move. So it took only few hours for the price to go from this level to this level. So for the price to go from 93,000 to 81, it took only few hours. But then we can see this bullish pressure, but it is very slow bullish move. So basically it took 7 days for bulls to push the price from this level to this level, for the price to go from 89k to 93k. So as you can see, it took much more time for bulls to push the price up than for the bears to push the price down. This here confirms to me that bearish pressure is still strong and it is very reasonable to see bearish continuation. On my previous video I analyzed gold chart and I marked these zones, and I said that we want to wait for the price to break this zone or this zone. On a 4-hour time frame we can actually see that price formed bullish move to break this zone and it continued to go up. I hope my previous analysis helped you with the gold trades. Now our plan can be to wait for a bearish pullback, retest of this zone again, and ideally stochastic RSI buy indication. If that happens and price forms bullish reaction, that will be a good opportunity to buy and catch this bullish trend. I hope this analysis earned your subscribe and like, and if not, let me know down in the comments below what can I do better. If you want more analysis, join my free Telegram channel, and thank you for watching. And remember traders, trade healthy.